Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at college basketball arenas that could hypothetically host NBA games. Basically, it's college basketball arenas that are big enough that have a capacity of at least 18 to 19,000. Some of these have capacities that would actually be the biggest arena in the NBA, beginning with the JMA Wireless Dome, formerly the Carrier Dome, Syracuse, New York. The capacity of this around 35,000 when they fully extend the capacity down both sides. Obviously, this is one of the rare multi-purpose basketball slash football domes, really the only one for Division One. And it's interesting because you would think, and I understand how exclusive the All-Star game is, and the NBA wants to keep the All-Star game being hosted by, NBA arenas, NBA cities. It's a big thing. It's a huge event. But if you're trying to really jazz up the All-Star game, why not put it in this dome? It's got a nice raucous college environment. The stands are right on top of the court. You could fit in maybe even 36, 37,000, depending on how far you wanted to extend it down. I think that would be an interesting thing, to try and do, considering the NBA's other moves when it comes to All-Star Weekend possibly being some of the events at Lucas Oil Stadium. It's just an interesting idea. Well, this is one that actually is a multi-purpose dome to where you could have a huge attendance, a huge capacity for both the Saturday night events and the Sunday All-Star game. Again, I get the NBA. They want to have it at arenas and things like that are NBA teams, but it would just be a unique idea, and I think it would really revitalize the NBA All-Star game, but maybe it's already dead at this point. Either way, it would be interesting if Syracuse ever got an NBA team and they would play here. Now, they would have to build their own arena, but Syracuse, they would never get an NBA team in the first place. It would just be interesting to kind of see a few different games played there. The capacity is just ridiculous, though, obviously, at around 35K, way bigger than any NBA arena. The next one, it is the KFC Yum Center, home of Louisville and their basketball program. And this is the arena, I would say, that almost mirrors kind of a modern NBA arena, or maybe not a modern NBA arena, because this opened back in the mid-2000s. It's well over a decade old at this point, but it has a very impressive exterior. The interior is exquisite. The capacity of this behemoth, over 22,000. It would be a massive NBA arena. The thought process is, imagine if Louisville got an NBA expansion team. There's a very slim chance it could happen. Probably not going to happen with the NBA expanding to Seattle and Las Vegas, likely in the coming years, but they could very easily play at the KFC Yum Center, and honestly, you wouldn't even have to build another arena. It would almost be too redundant because this thing is so big. You could host both the NBA team and the college basketball team. It would be kind of a unique thing, kind of like college football teams, playing at NFL stadiums, like the Miami Hurricanes playing at Hard Rock Stadium. But yeah, this arena, it has everything you would need for an NBA arena, including the fully finished exterior. There's some other arenas on this list that have high capacities, but their exteriors look completely terrible. It would never be up to NBA standard. This is the one arena to where I could see it legitimately, like looking at it from the outside, this could be a legit NBA arena. That's how built up it is, and it's interesting now with Louisville and how horrible they are. They're not able to fill this thing. They're not even able to get 50% of the capacity for a lot of these non-conference games. Louisville has just been terrible the past few years, but their arena is certainly very impressive. The next college basketball arena that I think could host an NBA game, the Dean Smith Center. Now, this is one that certainly needs a renovation, I would say. There were talks of them possibly renovating it, but I have to say, because it's a college arena, there's definitely some charm to it, and the way it sits kind of as the two-deck approach with the bigger upper deck. We'll see what they end up doing. This is one of those arenas where the exterior is just terrible. It's not up to NBA standard at all, so that would have to be renovated, but theoretically, based on its capacity being well over 20,000, it could host an NBA game here or there. Maybe at some point the NBA would maybe partner with some of these arenas and just have one game at these arenas. I think it'd be a cool experience just to see. They do the Paris games. They've gone to New Mexico, I think, for preseason games. That was the renovation that that they proposed right there that hasn't happened yet. That was proposed a while ago. It's not like that's a recent thing, but we will see what ends up happening to the Dean Smith Center. It is an older arena in college basketball, but it's also very legendary, and it's also a very unique arena, so I can understand why they would keep it the way it is. Moving on to the next one, this is Tennessee, the Volunteers Arena. Extremely cool interior design of this arena. It almost looks like it has that Ford Field Levi Stadium. One side of it is just straight suites, which is super rare for any basketball arena. You're not going to see that, but the capacity of this is very high because it has a bigger upper deck going all the way around the other three sides. The exterior of this arena is just horrible, which is, it's like a crazy contrast to where the exterior is terrible, but the interior is really nice, and it almost gives off that Lakers dim lighting, because they've got really dim lighting on the interior when Tennessee plays. So yeah, this technically could host NBA basketball based on its capacity, but if it wanted to, like if an NBA team moved into there, they would have to somehow renovate the exterior, I would think, just because the exterior looks really bad. It's just crazy. You go to the interior and it looks like this arena was built 3 years ago. It looks brand new. The exterior looks really lagging there, but that's another one with a high capacity that could host NBA games. The next one, it is Rupp Arena, home of Kentucky. Beautiful exterior design, futuristic, really nice renovation. The interior of it, certainly for an NBA arena, would be unique because part of the upper deck is like bleacher seats, which obviously would never happen when it comes to NBA games. Also, they've got like walls of seats as well. But Rupp Arena, Kentucky, really nice exterior. It has the capacity to where it could host NBA games. Moving on to the next one, it is PNC Arena, home of NC State. Now, PNC Arena is getting a renovation, mainly for the NHL team, a nice exterior renovation. But yeah, this is one, you look at the interior of it, this kind of reminds me of Capital One Arena, home of the Wizards, also Wells Fargo Arena. It might even be better on the interior than both of those. Yeah, this could certainly host NBA basketball. It is kind of bland, but it has a bigger lower bowl, a smaller upper deck, kind of a nice modern vibe there, and it does host NHL hockey, so it already has credentials in terms of that. That's another one that could potentially host NBA games. And then the final one, it is Value City Arena. Now, you take a look at Value City Arena in Columbus, Ohio, home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. It's got a nice exterior, especially for a college team. You look at it, it's built up, it's got some brick, it's decent. The interior of it, though, it just looks so cheap to me, Value City Arena. And I did a video talking about Ohio State, their move from their old arena, which could have been legendary for college basketball with a smaller capacity. They move into Value City. It has a capacity of almost 20K. And it's just so bland, Value City Arena. Technically, this is like, it could host NBA games. Like, imagine Columbus got an NBA expansion team. Theoretically, it could host NBA games, but it would certainly be an eyesore and would immediately become, I would say, the worst arena in the NBA, just because of how bad the interior looks. It's just so bland. But that is another one that does have the capacity, and there are a few other ones that do have the capacity to do it, but I'm not going to talk. Maybe I'll do a part 2 video talking about it. But just in terms of like the sweet spot, if I could pick one arena for an NBA team to move into right now, it would have to be the KFC Yum Center. It has it all. It's got, I mean, you could actually say it might have too big of a capacity based on it seating over 22,000 people. It would be a huge NBA arena, but still, that would be the one to where the exterior is nice, the interior is nice, they've got a lot of suites, they've got everything you would need for an NBA team. And that's why if Louisville ever got an expansion team, you would think that they could play in that arena, no problem. They wouldn't even have to build another one. Which one would be the coolest? I would say the JMA Wireless Dome, just because the total capacity could range to 35 or 36,000. You could have an NBA All-Star Weekend there. The way the seat configuration is, you're right on top of it. It would just be really raucous. Have a game at some of these unique college basketball arenas. Imagine Cameron Indoor hosting an NBA game. That would be awesome. But the tickets would cost so much money. You'd have to do something exclusive. Like they should do a Cameron Indoor opening. Well, they wouldn't do opening night because teams want to host. Yeah, you couldn't do opening night. But like imagine just have a finals rematch on Christmas at Cameron Indoor. I mean, it would just be so random though. the NBA wants the home teams to host at their own arenas because the arenas cost a lot of money. I understand it. Either way, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.